In order to be considered a bounce-back player in 2022, that means at some point you would have had to bounce. Taylor, what does that even mean? I get it. It's keywords. Just makes no damn sense. Anyway, in this show here today, 3 players who have bounced in the past, struggled last season, but could definitely bounce their way up your roster in 2022. What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everybody's doing well out there. Today we're talking about a few players that maybe fell off a little bit in 2021, but that does not mean that they cannot bounce back in a huge way here in 2022. The names may not always be the sexiest, but it's those names that if you hit it correctly, turn your team into a league-winning roster, and that's what we're all about here. Now, I have a giveaway winner to announce. Patrick J., congratulations. You helped us hit our like goal on a previous video. You are going to be getting a free 2022 Fantasy Football Draft Guide. Just send me an email over to info@thefantasyheadliners.com from this account right here, and I will hook you up, my friend. But you know what? I'm really passionate about this show. I did way too much research for the names you're about to hear so that I could paint you an overall picture and not give you a hashtag half-ass opinion. Because I did that, I gotta offer a good giveaway in this video from our friends at Pristine Auction. Have a signed Keenan Allen jersey right here. Where's it? There's the signature right there. Bam. If you are interested in winning this jersey, it's super simple. Hit the like button, leave a comment down below, let me know that you're interested, and make sure you have your free account signed up at pristineauction.com. Link down below in the description. Doesn't cost you anything. Set up that free account, use the referral code Headliners, and you're good to go for all of our future giveaways. Sweet jersey. The like goal for this video to give this away is going to be 1,962 likes. If we can get that on this video, I will give that jersey away to someone down below in the comment section. But now is the time where we dive into the content, and the first player we're going to be talking about is a quarterback. Hear me out on this one. It's going to be Ryan Tannehill of the Tennessee Titans. Now I know, as soon as I said the name Ryan Tannehill, you probably made this face. And then you contemplated scrolling to the next player in this video, but hear me out, please. Ryan Tannehill has this persona of being a low-ceiling quarterback in a run-first offense, and it's causing people to just pass over him completely. Passing over him so much that he is now currently quarterback 21 in the consensus ADP. Now, while I can somewhat agree with that low-ceiling run-first argument, there's no way it's enough to totally ignore this guy altogether. Look at the 2021 season. Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, they all missed a minimum of 4 games. I mean, come on, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine was second on the team in targets, yet Ryan Tannehill still finished as quarterback 12 overall in fantasy football. Now, sure, some injuries played a part, but last year he actually outscored Derek Carr, Lamar Jackson, and Russell Wilson, yet no one really even cares. Why does this guy get no credit? Because people look at basic box scores and they develop half-ass opinions based off of those surface level numbers. Not to mention, most channels out there only research surface level to avoid spending hours upon hours researching. But here's what everyone is missing. It's his rushing upside. People clamor to rushing quarterbacks in fantasy football, yet Ryan Tannehill's name is never involved in those conversations. Just last year, Ryan Tannehill had 55 carries for 270 yards and 7 touchdowns on the ground. 7 rushing touchdowns he added. Oh, but Jake, that's because Derrick Henry was hurt. He had to run more last year. Really? Then how come in 2020 he had 43 carries for 266 yards and another 7 rushing touchdowns? Because that year, Derrick Henry looked pretty freaking good, right? In 2020, had over 2,000 yards and 17 touchdowns, yet Ryan Tannehill still had his. How about 2019? Well, Tanny only had 4 rushing touchdowns that season, But it's because he only started in 10 games that year as well. The rushing upside continues to be there year after year after year in Tennessee, but this is what has made him fantasy viable despite some mediocre passing stats. But are they really mediocre? I mean, he's had at least 3,700 passing yards and 21 passing touchdowns over the last 2 years. Heck, in 2020, he had 33 passing touchdowns, and remember, that was still with 2,000-yard Derrick Henry healthy. But does that mean that last year was kind of just an off year due to the injuries? Henry, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones. I really believe it was, but not as much A.J. Brown or Julio Jones. It was because of Derrick Henry. Without Henry, the opposing defenses didn't have to pay much attention to the running game in the backfield, and they could focus more on taking away the passing game. Do you really think D'Onta Foreman was that good? No, he wasn't. It's because he wasn't going against stacked boxes like we see every week with Derrick Henry. Foreman, on average, faced 8 in the box, which is a stacked box, only 14.3% of his carries. Derrick Henry, just last year, 24%. The year prior, 31.7% of his carries were against stacked boxes. Derrick Henry opens up the passing game. Now, sure, they lost A.J. Brown and Julio this year. The Julio loss, really, to me, doesn't mean a whole lot. Dude was at best average in Tennessee, even though people are clamoring for him here in Tampa Bay. But they added a wide receiver in the first round in Treylon Burks. And literally, he is an A.J. Brown clone. Sure, it's going to take some time for him to acclimate to the NFL game, but skill level, talent-wise, dude is there. Many people prior to the draft had him comped to A.J. Brown. But the key here is that they also brought in Bobby Trees. And Bobby Trees, Robert Woods, seems to be pretty close to 100% coming off of a torn ACL. That is a great veteran addition and a great safety outlet for Ryan Tannehill. But there is one more X factor that no one is mentioning, and that is Austin Hooper. Now, no, I haven't lost it. I'm not saying that Austin Hooper is going to be fantasy relevant, but he is one of the best blocking tight ends in all of football. Plus, over the last few years, we've seen that he has pretty good hands in the receiving game as well. The writing is on the wall for Ryan Tannehill to not only just return to the top 12 this year, but maybe inside the top 10, and nobody even wants to talk about it or acknowledge his existence. I don't get it. You can see that Ryan Tannehill may not be one of those big names that everybody's gunning for, but especially in 2 quarterback leagues, do not pass on Ryan Tannehill. This guy right here could definitely outproduce expectations and be a huge surprise in 2022. How about a running back and somebody that everybody wants to say, this dude is washed? If you say that, you're not using facts, you're using personal biased opinion. It's Ezekiel Elliott of the Dallas Cowboys. And honestly, I really think this has to do a lot more with the actual dislike of a player or the team he plays on, because it can't just be around fantasy production. He's currently going as running back 15 in the 3rd round, and that is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Last year, he was drafted as the running back 5 off the board, finished as running back 6, and everyone calls him washed. That makes no damn sense whatsoever. Did he have a great year? No, but he still had 1,289 total yards and 12 touchdowns. What are you people doing? Stop overthinking it. What is the actual reasoning here? I thought, my own personal opinion, I thought we wanted to win fantasy football championships. Taylor, you want to win?
Yeah.
Taylor wants to win. Kyle, how about you, Kyle?
Yeah, of course, mother.
Yep, see? Kyle wants to win as well. Now, I can read. I can see his stats in 2021 were career lows, but if the worst season of his career is 1,289 total yards and 12 touchdowns, I think I'll take that. But Jake, Zeke's lost a step. Really? Then why did he average more fantasy points per game in 2021 than he did in 2020? Oh, but Jake, Tony Pollard is just better. No, he's not. He's really good in the role that he has, but he's not a bell cow running back. And if you were to give him 250 plus touches, on top of passing game work, the dude would break down. That's just not his style of game. This is similar to Chase Edmonds' last offseason when everybody thought that he could take over some lead bell cow role. No, the reason these guys excel is due to the role that they have. They're not the main number one guy. That's what makes them explosive and big playmakers, because they're not being worn down. Now, if you've watched us for months, you know I still love Tony Pollard at his ADP this year, but both of these guys can coexist in this offense and produce great numbers for where they're being drafted. Now, I think he's got a chance to maybe get some more touches this year. Sure, Tony Pollard does, but he's going to be a huge value. That does not mean that Zeke can't eat too, especially on a team that has lost so much. I mean, we're talking about Amari Cooper, Cedric Wilson. Now James Washington is injured. Michael Gallup already said he's not going to be good to go week 1. He's recovering from a torn ACL. I think part of the problem nowadays is people expect 1,800 total yards and 15 touchdowns from everyone they draft. If you don't get 20 points a week, you suck for my fantasy team. And that is not how this game is right now. It's just not at the running back position. Anyway, we want all these guys, but we got to be realistic about it. We haven't even mentioned the fact that last year, Zeke was playing hurt. Dude played with a partially torn PCL in his knee and still had 1,289 yards and 12 touchdowns. Do you realize that this guy was the running back 3 overall in fantasy football through the first 5 weeks of the season, and then basically had to suck it up and play through an injury? But yeah, Jake, it was his hot start that really carried him all year long, because he sucked the rest of the year. Well, from week 6 to 18, he was running back 13 overall, averaging 11 fantasy points per game. Is that great? No. Does it suck? No, because he's still returning value. You're talking about a guy who was drafted as what? We said running back 5, and he was currently running back 13 at that point of the season. It's not a huge difference. He's still putting up volume. It's better than him being injured, sitting out and doing nothing like Christian McCaffrey or Saquon Barkley. Now, sure, he had some bad games, but all players do. At every position, there's going to be times where your studs put up duds. It just happens. It's part of the game. That does not mean that we can write them off completely. He doesn't miss games. He's on an offense that needs playmakers. He's going to get over 250 total touches. He's going to get the goal line carries. He's going to get targets, and we have him at running back 15 in the 3rd round. We've seen tons of videos with him working out. The dude looks in shape. He looks quick. He looks ready to go. Do not make the mistake on passing Zeke at his current ADP here this year. He will never be cheaper for the production that you could get from him here this year. And man, I am feeling it right now, smashing that like button, because I'm just knocking down arguments left and right. Next guy, a wide receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster. And once again, people just love to hate Juju. He's just one of those guys that nobody likes. It's kind of like Odell Beckham. No matter what they do, good or bad, people just don't like them for the most part. Now, if you've listened to our audio podcast here recently, you know that I've talked about Juju here a little bit. I even came out and said that he was, quote unquote, a Cooper Kupp type pick to me. Now, no, he's not going to be the Triple Crown winner. He's not going to be the wide receiver 1, but a wide receiver drafted in the middle rounds that could well outperform his ADP, 126%. Could definitely see that. He's already come out and shown in camp that he can be a sure thing in the Kansas City offense. I talked early on how I could see him with a ton of receptions, maybe not a lot of yards, not a lot of touchdowns, but that could be changing, because as training camp goes on, we're starting to see a little bit more and more of Juju deeper down the field. A more vertical Juju for one Patrick Mahomes. And we know we love wide receivers attached to Patrick Mahomes. And this guy really gives him the safest outlet. Mecole Hardman hasn't been able to prove much. MVS is still dropping deep balls out there. Everybody loves Sky Moore, but he's still a rookie who's getting so much hype that I don't know if he can live up to his expectations. Sure, Travis Kelce is going to be option 1 in this offense, and that is a good thing, because we've seen Juju thrive as the number 2 a lot in the past. Remember with him behind Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh just a few years ago. Kelce's going to remain that number 1 target. That's not changing. And sure, we're going to see big plays from Hardman and MVS and Sky Moore from time to time, but they're all going to be kind of splitting those big plays with each other. The consistency is going to sit with Juju, and he's going to eat. Now, maybe you don't like the guy because of the TikTok dancing, and honestly, I don't understand it either, but I'm not here to judge TikToks. I'm here to put fantasy teams in a roster that make a lot of sense and bring home a lot of trophies. And as of right now, he's wide receiver 34 in the consensus ADP. Last year, wide receiver 34 only scored 143 half PPR fantasy points. Juju only needs 80 receptions for 980 yards and 3 touchdowns to get that. I'm pretty sure that's very attainable in this offense. He's looked quick, he's looked explosive, athletic, and a lot closer to what we saw in 2018 with Pittsburgh here this offseason with Kansas City. If nothing else, you have to think that the number one wide receiver target in a Kansas City offense led by Patrick Mahomes is worth more than wide receiver 34 overall on its own. Now, we talked about Sky Moore a little bit, and don't get me wrong, the kid is looking good for sure. But do I see consistent weekly targets? That I'm not so sure of right off the bat. I see Kelsey, I see Juju, and then I see a jumbled mess after that. The big plays will be there for time to time for him, though. Now, this may not even be high enough, in my opinion, but Juju getting right around 90 catches for 1,100 yards and 5 touchdowns in this offense seems a little bit closer to potential production that we could see from him. That would put him in the neighborhood of wide receiver 15 to 20 or so. Now, I'm not overthinking the lack of production over the last couple years and just writing him off completely. Injuries and a busted up old Big Ben did not help his cause. Give me the Kansas City offense, give me Patrick Mahomes, and give me Juju for the bounce back. The only reason I see where that you could pass on Juju in this draft is he's got a couple other guys at similar ADP that I really like as well, and Elijah Moore and Rashad Bateman. I like both of those guys, but Juju seems like the safer option. That's going to have to be something you look at your roster at that time. Do I take a lot of risk early with my wide receivers, and then I need a safer option in Juju to make sure I get my top 20 guy? Do I have a bunch of safety already at wide receiver, and I can gamble a little bit more on an Elijah Moore or Rashad Bateman? That's kind of where you need to be when it comes to a few of these guys, but I absolutely love Juju. Based off of where he's going in ADP, a bounce back is definitely in the cards for him here this year. Now, there's probably a few other guys that could fit this mold a little bit here that maybe we'll have in some upcoming videos. So make sure you smash that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on any of the future content. We got you covered all year long to make sure you dominate in fantasy football. Don't forget to hit that like button so we can give away this signed Keenan Allen jersey. Looking forward to doing that and get your free account. It's free. It costs you nothing. You'll be ready for all of our giveaways all year long, which is going to be weekly at a minimum this year. So make sure you have that free account signed up using the code word headliners. That's right here at the bottom of your screen, and there's a link down below in the description. But for now, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day, a great week, and we'll talk to you later. I'm a headliner.